However, America's heroes are able to do the math and realize the country might struggle to sustain a long war. U.S. Congress is still providing cash for Ukraine's counteroffensive. However, the president has an obligation to make sure that America never runs out. Ukraine's explosive stockpile Western defenses, especially artillery shells, because of any state and any warfare. This year, the U.S. House of Representatives narrowly passed an $886 billion defense budget, one of its largest defense requests in decades. However, critics highlight that with such a huge budget, Biden's televised revelations is a disgrace that needs urgent fixing.
The Ukrainian counteroffensive is struggling. Not only is Kiev hampered by a shortage of ammunition, some tactics that are being deployed by the Russians have created a serious problem. In the past week, Russia started to use its anti-ship missiles, such as the P-800 Onyx, to strike land targets inside Ukraine. And this has created all kinds of problems for the Ukrainian anti-air defense systems. Consider this: on Wednesday night, Russia struck the Ukrainian port city of Odessa with 19 missiles in a span of less than 2 hours. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, just about 5 of those 19 Russian missiles were intercepted. During half, the spokesperson of the Ukrainian Air Force has now gone on record to state that Ukraine simply hasn't got the means to guard itself against missiles like the Onyx along its coast. So why is Ukraine getting outgunned at its port in this trading war? On export. Yeah. The supersonic Onyx missiles are designed to destroy watercraft and ships. They fly at a speed of over 3,000 kilometers per hour, but it's not just their speed which makes it hard to intercept them, but it's their flight profile and trajectory. In the final approach to the target, the Onyx missiles can fly to an altitude of less than 15 meters as they're designed as a sea-skimming missile. The Onyx can be launched from ships, submarines, and even land-based equipment. But the Onyx missiles can be intercepted by using ballistic missile defense, such as the American Patriot missile defense system or the French SAMP-T defense system. But Ukraine hasn't got either of these defense systems in the quantities that it needs. And the United States, despite its loud assurances of help, hasn't said anything about equipping Ukraine with more elite air defense systems. But what the Americans have sent to Ukraine in this past week are cluster bombs, also known as the abominable ammunition, for the simple fact that the cluster bomblets linger around, killing and maiming innocent civilians and children decades after the fighting is ended. And these are already being used in the battlefield.
The cluster ammunition has one very big advantage. It can cover a very wide area where many soldiers and light armored vehicles are located. With these shells, we can stop them and help our infantry advance. Thus, the enemy will be hindered from advancing and our troops can conquer advantageous positions.
On the 17th of July, Ukraine attacked the Crimean Bridge in yet another audacious attack using naval drones. The 12-mile-long Kerch Bridge is the longest in Europe. Vladimir Putin condemned the strike on the Kerch Bridge as a terrorist attack, and immediately afterwards, Russia unleashed wave after wave of missile strikes on Ukrainian ports.
Russian armed forces carried out group revenge strike with sea-based high-precision weapons on objects where terror attacks on Russia using unmanned boats were prepared, as well as the place where those boats were made at a factory near Odessa. Apart from that, fuel depots holding about 70,000 tons of fuel near Mykolaiv and Odessa were destroyed. Those depots were used to supply fuel for Ukrainian armed forces. All targets were hit, fires and explosions on those objects were witnessed.
Russia has also pulled the plug on the Black Sea grain deal and has said that the safety of any ship heading towards the Ukrainian ports cannot be guaranteed. What this means is that nearly 33 million tons of grain, which Ukraine can export out of its ports, may no longer make its way to the international markets. The Russia-Ukraine war has been a major factor with the galloping inflation and the cost of living crisis that the world has experienced since February last year. If the longer the blockade on the export of grains from the Black Sea continues, the world
Nothing like
may be
transporting a
subject
batch
to
of arms
crisis
across the most
that
violent state in the
favors
country to give you that serotonin spike, right? You know, this used to be one of the agency's hazing rituals, but I digress.
Russian Defense Minister is going to visit North Korea later this week. The minister, along with his delegation, will also be joined by a Chinese official. This will mark the first visit to the country since the pandemic started. While in Pyongyang, the sides will celebrate the 70th anniversary of Victory Day. The delegation of Communist Party of China will be led by Li Hongjong. Both Moscow and Beijing, for long, have extended their support to the nuclear-powered country. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been steadfast in his support for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The United States has also accused North Korea of providing Russia with missiles and ammunition. Last year, North Korea already resumed some trade with China and allowed China's new envoy to take up his position this year. According to experts, Russia is expected to ask for more artillery support from North Korea, and in return, Pyongyang may ask Russia's assistance on the Chromosomes satellites or nuclear submarines. David Khan is a professor of international politics at the University of Birmingham. He is also a security and defense expert from the United Kingdom. Professor David, welcome to the program at this hour. And what do you think about the timing of Russia and China touring North Korea? And what is the message that the two governments are trying to send to other countries, especially the United States, Japan, and South Korea?
Well, the timing is the end of the Korean War, that the Chinese and the Russians are clearly using this opportunity to send a signal about their united approach in terms of the small coalition of communist states that seek solidarity in their isolation. The fact that they are making a big effect about this in part shows their, as in Russia's case, international isolation. It shows that they're trying to show that they have the world there, that there is solidarity beyond the two states themselves, and they're seeking to do that by aligning themselves with the biggest pariah state on the planet. And of course, as your report indicates, there will also be practical aspects to that. Russia, due to the sanctions regime, is running short of missile parks and artillery pieces, and North Korea is one of the few places that could supply Russia with those weapons.
Professor David, the North Korean government has been conducting several missile tests and drills in the South China Sea, and we already know that the leader in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, has said that he may use nuclear weapons in the coming months or in the coming years. What do you think this threat, or what impact will this threat have in the long run?
Again, what we see is an alliance of countries who are averting nuclear threats. The whole invasion of Ukraine by Russia was done under the umbrella of Russia's nuclear capability. As they said, we're invading Ukraine, and if we intervene, if we support Ukraine, even if we use weapons to Ukraine, you run the risk of us using nuclear weapons against them. And here we have a similar regime in North Korea that is economically and morally bankrupt, and yet uses all its resources to build nuclear warheads and rockets to try and threaten its neighbours. But the very fact that Russia has used nuclear intimidation reinforces the idea that North Korea is trying to make diplomatic gains by also using threats of nuclear violence. So what we have is an alliance of nuclear bullies in the relationship between Russia and North Korea. The fact that China is supportive of that by attending the same ceremony is disappointing in the way in which the West had hoped that China would rein North Korea in. But we have a situation whereby international politics has taken a rather nasty turn, whereby nuclear threats are now part of the language of international relations.
Professor David, finally, and this is in brief, the two Koreas have been at loggerheads for quite some time now. Won't this visit by China and Russia exacerbate the already fraught relationship going forward?
Again, the threats that North Korea has made against South Korea and against Japan and other states in the region has made South Korea much more anxious. The fact that nuclear threats have been made in Europe and elsewhere has meant that the South Koreans have sought greater security guarantees from the Americans. And indeed this month, a nuclear-armed American submarine visited South Korea for the first time in 4 decades, showing the degree to which tensions in the area have been exacerbated by the return of nuclear threats to the international system.
Security and defense expert Professor David Dunn, thank you very much for all your inputs and for talking to me on Wireless One today.
Thank you.
There is a distrust in Russia's military command. Experts say it seems that the Russian generals are judged more on their loyalty than their performance on the battlefield. Recently, a number of high-level generals have been removed or fired in Russia. In the next few minutes, we will take a look at Russia's generals who have been fired in the ongoing Ukraine war. Starting with Major General Ivan Popov. Well, he commanded troops in the Zaporizhzhia region and he was dismissed from his post. Now we'll tell you why he was dismissed from his post. That is after he accused Moscow's defense ministry leadership of betraying his troops for not providing sufficient support to the troops on the battlefield. So as I mentioned, that he was dismissed from his post for accusing Moscow's defense ministry for not providing enough support to the troops on the front line. Moving on to our next general, Lieutenant General Sergei Kessel. Well, he commanded the elite First Guard Armed Tank Army, suspended for his failure to capture Kharkiv. Moving on to our last general, Vice Admiral Igor Ospin. He commanded Russia's Black Sea Fleet, suspended following the sinking of cruiser Moskva. That's we're talking about Vice Admiral Igor Ospin. He commanded the Russia's Black Sea Fleet and he was suspended following the sinking of cruiser Moskva. Moving on, General Sergei Surovikin. He was the commander of Russia's forces in Ukraine and he was last seen in public since Wagner chief Evgeny Prigozhin's mutiny. Reports say that the general has been detained by the Russian authorities. He was last seen, like I mentioned, in public since Wagner chief Evgeny Prigozhin's mutiny towards Moscow, and he was detained by the Russian authorities as per the reports. Meanwhile, Lieutenant General Rustam Mordov, he commanded Russia's Eastern Military District, and he was removed from his post in March 2023. He was removed for unsuccessful Russian assaults near Volodar, which is in the Donetsk region. Well, it's not only Russia that has sacked or fired its generals. Let's now tell you about a Ukrainian general sacked by Zelensky. Zelensky announced Edward Moskolov's dismissal. Now, the Ukrainian president had announced Edward Moskolov's dismissal during the Ukraine-Russia